If you like this podcast, you can find more of my content on Substack at angeldevenganza.substack.com. That's at ANGELDEVENGANZA.substack.com. Also on YouTube at Angel de Venganza, and of course on X or Twitter at Angel de Venganza, or you can just search for an Angel of Vengeance. What's up, guys? As you know, one thing that makes me unique is that I never really wanted to kind of be a content creator around this. I never really wanted to publish any of my stuff. What happened is that I wanted to have a model that worked for me. And for years, I built that out and I built it for me. Later on, whenever I jumped on X, I started publishing this out there. It surprisingly was popular and it benefited a lot of guys. And so I continued with it. One advantage of that is that I know that my stuff actually works. At the same time, another advantage is that I have all of these writings that were all built for me. There's a lot of value in them because they show the real life instances of these things unfolding. It allows us to tie it to reality. One thing that I realize is missing is a lot of my stuff is theoretical, and it's good because it's the model that I actually use and I understand it. But guys need to be able to tie that on to events in their life. Some of that I can benefit them through coaching and we can talk through that and I can give them my vision, but I also want them to be able to kind of see what it looks like just in my life. And that'll help them go a long way to being able to analyze their own situations and see like what this actually looks like in the wild and real life situations. So what I'm doing is I'm going through my writings and I'm finding experiential writings that clarify these things so you guys can see them. So the one that we're going to get into today is a lay report that I have from May of 2021. So one thing, by the way, before we get into this, I want to talk about referenceability. One of the problems that we have with X, Twitter, whatever, even Substack, is that it's just not referenceable. Everything's in a timeline, so things get buried. They're not connected. So one thing I'm doing to change that, and you're going to see soon, is that on my Substack, I'm going to put a table of contents on there, and it's going to be pinned to the top. And that's going to be a guided tour. I'm going to be your curator. You can go in there and you can see all of the things arranged by topic. And those are going to lead into other things. This is going to cover topics like burden, breaks, judgment, authority, truth never tries, vibe, winging, night game, solo, all kinds of things. The benefit of this is that you guys don't have to go digging and searching for something. It's going to be your guided tour and actually be able to find the things that you're looking for and dive deeper into it. All your resources are going to be there. I want this to be like a library that has like a Dewey Decimal System so you guys don't have to feel around in the dark for content that only lasts for 48 hours. It's a way for you guys to go and reference it. And now because of the power of AI, I'm able to go and summarize so many of my writings and put them into crystallized, clear things. One thing, as you guys probably know, you listen to this podcast, sometimes I struggle with clarity. This allows us to be extra clear and in a way that's referenceable for you guys. So let's jump into this. This is going to be a straight readout of my writing. Sometimes it drifts around a little bit. That's just the way it is. That's the way I literally write to myself. The background to this is that this was in early May 2021. I got single in late January of 2021. It took a couple months for me to kind of get the rust knocked off. I've been reading a bunch of my old writings and then I was getting back out there. This isn't my first LR that I had whenever I was single at that point in time. This is just one that I think is a really good example of how to deal with a difficult girl, a hot, really, really hot girl who is high horsepower. So I think it's a really good illustrative example of principles. Let's start. So I was out this past weekend. The weekend before was pretty rough because I lost my grandmother and was in kind of a funk. I've also been having doubts about running Texas-style country paired dance approach game in this Oklahoma honky-tonk venue that I've been going to. It doesn't seem to work like it does in Texas. These Oklahoma girls can't really dance, so it makes it kind of awkward. So I switched styles up to leading with the conversation first instead of a dance approach. Back to the Chicago-style game, then maybe like 5-10 minutes into it, doing a dance just to solidify it. This has been a total game changer. I was in line to get a drink and I saw a cutish girl putting her bun up. I opened about how I have so much more respect for that now since I just learned how to do that myself. FYI, I was growing my hair out at the time. Stayed on the hair thing for a bit, but had strong eye contact, etc. She loved me. She bike rides and cycles a lot, so me and her had a lot in common. Unfortunately, her friend was in a really bad mood and wanted to leave. and was only staying so her girl could talk to me. I knew the number was going to be super solid, so I was like, cool, I'll just let this girl go and try and trade up. So before we went out, I read fucking awesome shit from LBA Returns. By the way, that's one of my own personal archives of writings. Such a key article. It illustrates exactly how birding pushing is, how you are freely projecting and fully 100% allowing her to take everything exactly how she wants to take it. You don't care if she likes it or hates it. Her judgment doesn't matter because she doesn't have judgment authority. You aren't even looking at it. You are preemptively pushing this. I dare you to judge me onto her. Aren't trying to make her reaction go any certain way. You are actually saying things proactively that give her the full range freedom to react poorly to it, and you don't care at all. This steals her judgment authority by allowing her to judge. It says her judgment is irrelevant. Trying to steer her judgment empowers it. So much of that is really what your breaks are. You're setting up that gulf. The gulf is that gap where you're indifferent to how she takes anything, and you just fill that void with fun, playfulness, and heat to lure her towards you. It's all natural projection of an inner happy energy and how you naturally are, not trying to impress her. It's self-entertaining and self-serving. By the way, you might be noticing that I say you a lot, whereas normally I write with we. This is because this is a note to myself. I'm literally talking to myself. Keys: not watching, pinging her reactions to see or try and solve what she's thinking. Assume she's loving you. Assume everyone is loving you. Mine is right. I have judgment authority, so the world is what I think it is. Many times I could see her looking at me, trying to see if I was watching what she was doing, seeing if I'd look towards her because she looked towards me. Keep tabs and ping how she was reacting. Often she'd run off and go flirt with some other girl, some other guy, just to see if I'd notice and do something about it. And of course I didn't. These all pushed burden. This is her problem to solve. Of course, all these things just brought her back towards me. She'd wander back. It's called attraction, bro. They have to come to you. And then she'd either reopen me or I'd just randomly, casually notice her there again and just start talking to her as an extension of my fun state and energy. That's me stacking out a vibe so it doesn't show intent. She hasn't really done anything to earn my focus or my intent at this point. The true key was I found my state again. Some hip hop music came on and I was feeling it. And Dave was just kind of watching the girls on the dance floor. Rather than being that observer, goal-oriented state, I was like, fuck this, bird and push all that shit. Fully allow others to think what they want to think and take it however. People only trust you and your status when they have that freedom to judge. I was feeling it and just started hip hop dancing in front of Dave and having a blast. You could tell I didn't give a shit what anyone else thought. Side note, I am actually a really good dancer. This just put me in an even better mood. I could feel that state feeling where instead of your goal being girls, it becomes how in love you are with how good you're feeling. And then you start to find many different ways to be creative and make it even more fun for yourself. And key, impress yourself even more with how great you're feeling. This is critical because it's all just an extension of that feeling. You open girls effortlessly as an extension of your mood, and they can feel that you're having a fucking blast and offering great emotions. More importantly, having your vibe eyes on means you're really only paying attention to emotions. And so everything she says, you're really only hearing the emotion behind that. So you naturally see her. This opens up a ton of room for when she says something, you only hear the emotion behind it, and you just provide hilarious, self-entertaining commentary about her emotions that you don't care how she takes it either way. But you really do have to be proactive with it. Sandy and I were country pair dancing, and it was kind of stiff for a bit, so I did the whole back away from her on my own and just start vibing to the music. That, by the way, when I explain that, is like normally pair dancing, you're touching them. So instead, I just kind of started dancing by myself on the dance floor a little bit, right? Like there's a way to vibe and do that. That functions as a break because most guys, they want to keep touching them as much as possible. Anyways, I pull my hat brim down to hide my eyes, totally showing I don't give a fuck. I come back in closer to her. I pull her hand towards my shoulder and pull her in. She comes in now more willingly. We get a lot closer. I make sure now to keep some strong eye contact with her, touch her gently, then boom, I preemptively push her away into a spin. This is a good example of how to do hot cold on a country dance floor. We chatted a lot while dancing. She's really such a salty bitch. It feels like I'm pussyfooting here, but I can tell she's high horsepower and that she'll poof with even just a touch of too much interest. A watershed moment was when she said something kind of smart-assy and I replied, "Oh my God, shut the fuck up," in a way that didn't fill the rapport gap, and she felt she could take it either way. And that really hit home. It was at that moment I felt like she decided, I like this guy. After some dances, we come back to the rail, which is the edge of the dance floor. She kind of kept testing me to see if I'd chase. Like I said, she's high horsepower. So instead, I just stayed locked into my awesome emotional state. You could tell I was the source of good emotions, not her, because I didn't ping her reactions, didn't take notice of what she was doing, frame as focus. Even when she talked to me, there was that tiny delay in when I would even notice that she was talking to me, which shows the mental switch from social to specific focus that says I'm not already thinking about her, I was been thinking about other things. All of these things solidified to her This is a guy that you're going to have to put a smidge bit of effort in if you want him, but it's so worth it to want him because he's so much fun. I'm curious how his mind works. He just goes with however he wants. He chases good emotions, and I just want to be along for the ride. Combine all that with a dominant sexuality where you freely touch her as you want, as if it's nothing, and making dominant eye contact with her whenever you choose to, like you aren't fucking scared of her at all. A feeling that you will give yourself permission and that you will just give yourself permission to bang her if you want. This tells her that I could, but I'm choosing not to. I could, but I won't. That means I'm a tease. But she also knows now I will make moves on her if she earns me. That helps all create sexual tension, by the way. So the burden box is checked. The vibe emotional box is checked. We've got the dominance threat box and sexual tension box checked. Then it's just gradually starting to like the girl for distinct and totally unique personality characteristics. You guys have little jokes and stuff that reveal her personality, and you clown on her, but you really start to appreciate parts of it, and it just starts to feel so unique. With her, my mind was in vibe, so it was already emotionally focused and attuned. So whenever she said something, I really just felt, what emotion is this? And I kept hearing and feeling, wow, this girl is really being a critic. Like, she's such a little fucking skeptic. And so that's what I went with all night. I just kept giving her shit about how I actually thought she was this little judgmental critic taking pot shots at people, which, by the way, is uncool vibe breaking. And I was the cool guy who didn't judge and loved everyone and totally giving her shit, which is me as the enforcer of the vibe. I was pretty relentless with it because it was true. She had some serious sarcasm in there. She tried to shit test me and I just aced him. I think with shut the fuck up or something else that let her take it however she wanted, showing I didn't care what she thought, yet I was still in control. Note, because I placed the burden on her, she can't reject me. She'd just be giving up. Note, this will actually blow you out with a lower horsepower girl, but with like very high horsepower girls, they love this type of thing. Anyways, all of this just kind of kept ramping up. And then I moved into qualification. I was like, dude, you are fucking fun. I very gradually let her earn me with her personality because the burden was on her. And she knew she was going to have to want this more than me. And that I was the ADD stimulus seeking hot chick. She kind of naturally did the logistics planning for me. We go outside after, she runs off and talks to some other guys. Another test. Me and Dave just kept chill against the wall. I wait for her to come back because I know she's going to, and naturally she does. This hoe is so high horsepower, it's just test after test with her. So I'm just chilling, vibing, and then she says, so how about you walk me to my car and then you just walk back here afterwards without her? I give her shit. That seems like a lot of work. I'm kind of lazy. Then she's like, well, I'll drive you back here then. Bro, I know damn well we're going back to her place. We walked to her car with Dave, who, by the way, was still with her friend. And my girl is literally pulling me along. Like she has my hand locked over her shoulder and it's like she's dragging me. There was a ton of times when she'd try to walk faster and she'd get like 10 feet up ahead of me on the sidewalk and then turn around and realize, wow, this guy is not going to increase his pace just to walk next to me, which, by the way, is me pushing the burden, not trying. And also, by the way, that she's tested so much at this point. She just keeps testing. That tells me that, like, I know she's high horsepower. And when she's high horsepower, then just a little bit of intent or too much interest will make it poof. And so to me, I have to read that as a test. And I know I got to make her adapt. Anyways, so she'd wait whenever she got ahead and then come back, naturally giving me shit, telling me I'm just moseying along. I'm like, who even says mosey anymore? Either way, the frame is fully set. Deep down, she knows I ain't chasing her, and that frees her up to make the decision. The girls split off from each other towards their cars without even a goodbye, which, by the way, tells me that that was pre-planned and that they've been doing their logistics in their brains. Me and her chatted for like 10 seconds near the back of her car, and then I just walked over to the passenger door and opened it. I didn't want her to think I was assuming there was still resistance with me getting into her car. Assume acceptance, assume you won. By the way, this is where Dave messed up. He did that whenever he ended up going with his girl, they got to the back of the car and then they just ended up in a conversation there instead of moving it forward. In that case, he assumed that he didn't have enough compliance to actually go home. What girl's going to walk you to her car but then not actually want to go home with you, right? Like you should assume, like the winner assumes that he's already won. The more you wait there, the more you start to create a resistance point that doesn't even really need to exist. Once we're in her car, she finally opens up. I think she was just worried about her friend's opinion. Earlier in the night, she had denied me a kiss that I assessed was actually just because her friend was right there. I used the let's go back and get high bounce. She's down, but says, just so you know, I'm definitely not sleeping with you. I said, don't worry, I'm a huge tease anyways. I just assumed it was on. Yet right after, I'm like, well, I'm going to need to crash at your place. And this is because of my logistics situation. My friend, if he's going back with his girl, that other girl, I'm not going to be able to get into his place. And she's like, yeah, you can crash on my couch or in my bed if you want. Like, LOL, bro. Like, this is literally just showing, there's just, all these things are just tests, just more tests. Like, she wants this, but she's just going to test every fucking bit of the way. This is what high horsepower girls are like. So I'm like, okay, this must be on. She drops me off at my bike, which I was on my motorcycle, and I follow her on my bike. We get there, couch, some combo. She just loves me. She really likes me. Bounce to bed, done deal. She fucking loves me. In the morning, she was asking all kinds of buying questions. What do you do? Do you live in a house or an apartment? Do you smoke cigarettes? I love that you don't snore. I think you might be a winner. Of course, I was like, thanks, Judge Judy. But yeah, I laid the groundwork for us hanging out since we both work from home and we can meet up during the week as long as she's cool with me crashing there, which she totally is. And the fact that I'm a horrible texter and that we should probably just talk on the phone. I like this story because it shows the emotional journey that happens in my mind. This would be a better story if we just talked about the actual, like, what happened. But instead, the real story that happens is the story that's going on in your brain. What are the things you're thinking about? What are the things that you're feeling? If you understand and learn from these stories, that emotional story, that's what you are experiencing every single night. And you're just trying to actually get into that. When you have good nights, it's that emotional story that you're feeling, not the events. The events stem from that. So when I talk through the story, what I like about it is that we're clarifying a lot of these exact same habits in our brain, and you're feeling that and experiencing it. Game done internally, that is what the story actually feels like. I also hope that it illustrates exactly the calibration of where the pushing the burden is. Like, what does that actually really look like? Things like, she's trying to catch my attention, she's trying to do this, and I'm just like not really kind of noticing yet, right? I'm still out there projecting out my fun to everyone around me, and then she's in her mind trying to figure out ways that she can kind of like ping and get closer to me. Every other guy, she can go revalidate herself with that really quickly. She can get ping from him. She can look across the room. Guys are going to check her out. But I'm the guy whose the attention is the hardest to get in the whole place. And at the same time, I'm putting out tons and tons of great emotions and sexy emotions and being flirtatious and being strong with my eye contact. Even though I'm not into her, I'm just that way with everyone. Those are the types of things that turn them on. She knows, like, wow, if I get this guy's attention and I get close to him, he will so fucking fuck me. But we're not there yet, obviously, because I can't really hold his attention. But when I do, it's fucking locked on. This dude's a killer, right? That creates a lot of sexual tension. This is what I like to call the bear trap, which is that she's pushing this bear trap. And the harder that she pushes that, like, she knows, like, it's going to snap on her. It's like a jack in the box. That's like, whenever you spin it, you don't know when it's going to pop out, but you know damn well it's going to if you keep doing that. That's the thing, is like, she feels the threat there and she's got to get close and go right into the teeth of the dragon. And as she gets closer and closer and closer, she starts to feel that chill up her spine of knowing, like, if you do this, this dude is going to fucking take you. But you're not there yet, right? You apparently haven't earned it from him. But when you do, he's got the killer behind him and he's actually going to do it, right? That creates tons of sexual tension. This is also what I mean whenever I say she does it to herself. This is not an organically sustained thing like other guys are trying. For me, she gets close to me, she turns me on, and then that earns my dominance in return. And I won't stop once you fucking hit that trap, right? But she's got to push that trap. And she's got to push on that trap harder than she has to push on any other guy's trap, right? Like for me, that thing, she's got to stomp on it. Really, right? She's got to try. But then when it does, it's going to just sweep her up. It's just going to clamp on her and it's done. Like, you've earned it. Now I'm leading. This helps guys understand the difference between like that break and pushing burden and being strong and leading, right? Like, there's a sequence to it. Like, she's got to fight to get that focus. She's got to fight to pull that all that warmth and all that energy and attention onto her. Then when it is, I'm locked in. Like, you've earned it. So what's up? And I'm looking at her like, hey, so what's up? You have my focus now. There's a danger and a strength behind it, because she's like, oh shit, I finally got this. And this dude, he does exactly what the fuck he wants, right? Because it's been like, he obviously is doing whatever the fuck he wants here. It's hard to get his attention, but now he's locked in on me. One, this is my shot. Two, this dude does whatever the fuck he wants. That sizzle creates that sexual tension. Another thing that we talk about here is the calibration of where her gap is specifically. So the gap is that room between an ego protection rejection, which is you did way too much break and not enough heat and you got blown out, and then being too try hard. If a girl's gap is more to the left, and on the left side is where I call ego protection rejection, and on the right is where you are starting to carry burden and you're too try hard. So, and her gap is in the middle. If her gap slides to the left, that means that she likes and she needs more break for the heat that you're giving. That's a girl that if you show just a little bit too much interest at all, even a little bit, boom, she poofs. Like then she runs off and does whatever. These are your high horsepower girls. These typically are your hottest girls. A lower horsepower girl, her gap is a lot more on the other side. This is like your church girl or your girl who's like in the very beginning of like college and she still kind of has like hearts in her eyes and all imagines like Prince Charming and all this other type of shit. These are the types of girls that if you give them just a little bit of break, they immediately don't like that, right? Like they're like, oh God, that's not that's not how an ideal boyfriend would treat me. She needs that. Like she actually wants what would be way too try hard for a higher horsepower girl. How do I know that? I know because she keeps testing me. And then every time I keep passing these tests, she responds favorably to that. Like that's not something that a lower horsepower girl is going to do. Another thing that this illustrated is that if you play this right, she's going to solve a lot of her obstacles. That's why like other guys that get all this LMR, that's because they plowed all night. They've been carrying burden all night and then they get to the very end and it's like, it's just not going to happen because she's never been invested. If you go back and read this article, Playing Hard to Get by Tyler Durden, he talks about the screening chasing switch. She's got to make that decision in her mind. If you carry burden all night, and even if you bounce back, it's still not going to happen. You're going to get insurmountable LMR. But in my case, because I pushed it, she's had to figure it out. She's had to basically be like, okay, how can I make it happen with this guy? And then if I can even get his attention and hold his attention, it will definitely happen. She's got to solve that. And so in her mind, she's already logistically pieced things together with her girlfriend in the bathroom. We see this. This is how all of this stuff just miraculously happened. But she's high horsepower. So even though she already figured it all out in her brain, doesn't mean that she's not going to test me. So she was doing all that testing, walking on the sidewalk. We go outside and she's going and talking to all these other guys. Like that is not based off insecurity. An insecure girl might be like, oh, he doesn't really like me, but then when I come in and talk to them, right? Like she won't come back to talk to me. And the other thing is that like, I would just be able to tell because she's going to be a lot like nicer and hang on all my words. Whereas this girl keeps doing this stuff preemptively, which tells me that like, she will still poof if I show too much interest at all. And by the way, this is really how most super hot chicks are. Another thing that's illustrated here is the importance of leading. So we're uncontrollable on the back, uncontrollable on the front. You can't make me like you. You can't hold my attention if I don't really want. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. But once you've got my focus and you've earned my attention, I'm going to lead and make this fucking happen. It just is. Like you have my focus. The trap has snapped. You walked too close to the flame. This is why whenever we get back to her car, I just assume it's on. Like, girl, you've been chasing me all night. I know you have. Every girl does. I guess I've decided, cool, let's do this. And then of course she gives me, the perfunctory, screen on, oh, well, we're not going to sleep together. It doesn't really matter. Like, I know it's going to happen. The wrong thing to do is engage that to say, oh, I got to do something or whatever, right? Instead, I'm just like, I just basically agree with it, in a way that, well, whatever, I know how this game goes. Like you tell yourself whatever you need to. But if you try and bite into that and be like, oh, no, it's definitely happening. Or you try to be like, like, oh, what? And I feel like I need to start convincing her or something. Like, no, that's not the way to do it, right? So I think my response on that was, yeah, I'm a tease anyways. Like that's perfect, right? Because that keeps the frame and she knows it's total bullshit and she knows she's got to turn me on and hit that bear trap and then it's going to snap. Like she knows my shit does not self-sustain. So that gives her a feeling of safety because she knows that nothing's going to happen if she doesn't stomp harder than she's ever had to stomp on that trap to get it to snap, right? But it also creates that danger where she's like, ooh, I bet I can actually get this guy. And I bet it's going to be fucking hot whenever he takes me. That's the balance, is that it's not sustained. A lot of guys, they come into it and it's like, I organically want you. And they have even if they have a trap, it's a very, very light, it doesn't take very much effort from her for it to snap. Like as soon as she gives a compliment to him, he's like, oh yeah, let's do this. And it's like, girl, you're gonna have to do a lot more than that, right? Like I'm doing my own thing. So this girl understands like, damn, I've really got to stomp on this guy's fucking trap to get it to snap. And it's that snapping of feeling taken. Like she's fought and fought and fought to get my attention and my strength. And when she knows it's there, then bam, she's gotten too close. She walked in closer and closer and closer and felt that chill up her spine as she got really close to the dragon. And then boom, it's too late to be able to run away. You got consumed by the flame. Anyways, we're going to let that wrap it up today. I'm going to try and start having a little bit more stuff that's a little bit more experiential based that allows you guys to see it more as like case studies. I think some things, I like our theory, but I want you guys to be able to see and experience how this is in real world and also how it is inside you in the real world. Anyways, we'll catch you next time. Note, if you like this and you'd like to see how this fits inside real life situations in your life, I do offer coaching. The link for that is in my bio on my X/Twitter account @AngelDevinGanza, or you can just search for an Angel of Vengeance.